Welcome back to the deep dive.
Good to be here.
So today we're jumping straight into a pretty powerful story. It's about resistance during World War II in Germany.
That's right. We're looking at it through the lens of a new film, specifically through a review of From Hildes with Love.
Yeah, it just premiered in the UK at the Glasgow Film Festival. So this review is our source material.
And our mission, really, is to unpack what this review tells us. What makes Hilde Coppi's story so compelling, according to the reviewer?
And how does the film apparently portray her and, that whole incredibly difficult time? What's the takeaway from this critic's perspective?
Okay, so setting the scene a bit. German cinema often revisits its World War II past, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. The review mentions films like Downfall, Sophie's Skull, The Last Days.
The Tin Drum, Das Boot.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite a legacy there.
And the review points out that watching these films, engaging with them, it can be quite confronting.
Definitely. It sort of forces you to ask yourself those really hard questions like, could I have shown defiance faced with that kind of horror?
Exactly that. And, well, that's a direct line to Hilde Coppi, isn't it? She's the focus here, played by Liv Lisa Fries.
Yes. The review presents her as someone who did find that defiance, who resisted the Nazis. Part of a friendship group, really.
With her husband, Hans.
Right. And their resistance, based purely on what the review describes from the film, it was varied and incredibly dangerous.
Like sending radio messages. In Morse code.
Morse code, yes, to Russia. Think about that. The danger.
Unbelievable. And also distributing anti-Nazi leaflets and things across Berlin.
Putting up posters, too, the review says. Anti-regime posters.
Just imagine the nerve that took. Walking around the city doing that.
And one more thing, mention writing letters to mothers whose sons were named on Radio Moscow broadcasts.
Trying to get real information out there past the state control.
And the review makes it very clear.
Yeah.
They knew getting caught meant death, no question.
Which makes the film's choice of focus, according to this review, really stand out.
How so?
Well, so many war films, resistance stories, they often center on the men, spies, soldiers. This could have easily been Hans's story.
Ah, right. But the writer, Layla Steeler, chose Hilde.
Exactly. And the review praises that, calls it a fascinating, non-hagiographic portrait. So not making her into a saint.
Showing her complexities. Flaws, maybe?
Seems like it. And Lisa Fries' performance is apparently crucial for that. The review says she makes Hilde feel real, like a living person.
Not just some grainy photo or like a warrior woman trope.
No, apparently more practical, softly spoken, but with this deep resilience.
Interesting. And the film's structure helps build this picture, too. The review mentions it's nonlinear.
Yeah, jumping back and forth in time.
Which can sometimes feel gimmicky, but here the review suggests it's key to understanding her fully.
That's the impression. It contrasts her life before and after her arrest. Visually, too.
Oh, how do they show that contrast?
Well, the past scenes before prison are described as vibrant. Lots of color, a kind of cozy yellow glow, even.
So showing life, dancing, relationship.
Yeah, dancing, intimacy, drinking. And the review notes, even joyfulness in planning their resistance. It mentions the love story developing between Hilde and Hans. Makes it all very human.
And the prison.
Total shift, steely grays, sterile blues, hospital creams, washed out greens, harsh, unforgiving.
Completely different visual language.
Absolutely. And the review mentions one detail that really hits hard about Hilde struggling to produce enough milk for her baby in prison.
Oh, wow, because of the diet.
Yeah, the restrictive prison diet, it just grounds the suffering in such a basic human physical way.
That sounds incredibly affecting. And Fries' performance, the review calls it utterly captivating.
Deeply complex, emotional, yeah. It mentions a difficult birth scene in the prison and how Fries handles that raw reality.
So it doesn't shy away from the grimness.
Not at all. The tension in the prison scene sounds immense. Political prisoners just waiting.
Waiting for trials.
Yeah.
Or worse.
Yeah. The review uses this phrase that the guillotine feels like it's mere inches away at all times. That constant threat hanging over them.
God, that's chilling. It must create such a heavy atmosphere. Which makes those small moments stand out even more, I suppose. The review describes one just before her execution.
Oh, yeah. What happens?
Hilde just enjoying the warmth of the sun. One last time. Simple as that.
Wow.
Followed by, as the review grimly puts it, Teutonic efficiency. Her turn.
So, pulling back a bit, what does the review say is the film's overall goal? It says it's not just about making you cry.
No, the argument seems to be it's more about making you feel the weight of history.
Like
on your own shoulders.
making you reflect, maybe question your own capacity for bravery.
Exactly that. And perhaps feel, profoundly thankful that you've never been tested like that.
Yeah. It wraps up calling the film a truly fascinating portrait of one of World War II's most compelling figures.
It definitely sounds like, based on this review, the film really zeroes in on how huge historical events are lived through individual choices, individual courage.
Like Hilde's and her groups, it wasn't just grand public acts.
No, it was also these quiet, incredibly risky, persistent actions. And the film seems to capture that personal dimension.
Which leaves us with something to think about, doesn't it? For you, listening. How do we make sure we actually see and value those quiet acts of courage? The everyday defiance, maybe.
Alongside the big, famous resistance stories we all know. How do we balance that?
And if the film wants us to feel the weight of history, what does a story like Hilde Coppi's actually mean for us now? How does it make us think about our own world, our own possibilities today?